back again. So I'm trying to drop this message real quick, out for another drive, and trying to channel this as quickly as possible without rushing. But essentially, I had a realization today. As I look around, I see that it's almost as if the earth itself is being terraformed by dark spiritual energy. Now, in my other videos, I do talk about how spiritual energy is essentially one. We are all one. All of existence is one. And thus, any expression of duality is merely simply the source energy attempting to correct and inspire balance or imbalance within us, vice versa. And through that, you can break this reality and this existence down into many layers. So on this layer, I'm going to move away from the concept that all is one, because some people aren't truly able to comprehend that quite yet. And because they can't comprehend that, this message may get lost. But I'm looking around and I see that we come and we create our machines and our mechanisms and our architecture and our infrastructure in a way that is almost not only detrimental to the natural form of the earth, but to our existence as organic beings. And it is it's really strange, because I think that I don't think that that's an intentional human mechanism. I don't think that that's natural in us. I think that does come from dark energy or dark force, that dark side of spirit. And then in that, even you can see where we attempt to maintain balance by having the areas that are cut out for nature. Like the median in a highway, right, is typically grass as opposed to the paved lanes on the sides that we use. And it just makes me think of other places where that's not the case, and how much more in tune we could be with our spirituality if we were not in a system that was kind of like, that was taking a process of corrupting nature around us. But in this, I can still see balance. It's just a thought that I had a realization about. And it's kind of like going back to the collective, having this battle of consciousness of what we truly want to manifest in our reality. It's like we still aren't entirely sure. We're partially in the natural and then partially into our man-made creation, and perhaps that is the way that things are meant to be. Obviously, it must be meant to be, because it is. But I believe that we can still change that if we were to choose one or the other, right? If we were to choose more natural, then, for instance, there are architects that purposefully build more natural designs. They create more natural designs that actually help. And I'm attempting to bring this message in and not overwhelm myself or the viewer, right, or you, right? But there are architects that build with the natural to support nature, and I think if we were to lean more towards that, then we would see more of that. So it's almost like this society we're in is trying to turn us into these metallic, these cold-hearted robots. And that is why you see things like certain store chains all pop up next to each other, and they're built in the same way, and the whole neighborhood becomes that way, right? It's because subconsciously in the spiritual realm, we are manifesting a more robotic, a more metallic, a cold-hearted civilization that is manifesting in reality in that way. Whereas if we were to lean more into the natural, we would see more flow in our developments and in our buildings and our architecture, right? Our infrastructure even. There's a lot that we can change if we change our perception and if we change where our hearts are placed, and instead of letting these ideas lead us. So for instance, that dark spirit can come over and create or place in the heart of a human the desire to want to build something that goes along with that dark energy, with that cold-hearted development, with making this a more robotic place. If more of us get in alignment with that, so let's say someone builds a store chain and it's full of negativity, but we don't do anything to change that. I'm in traffic right now. I'm like, as I'm chilling this message, I typically don't, but I have no road rage. People are just kind of like going in and out. I'm literally just focused. This message is coming through. Like traffic is just flowing. I think that's just so beautiful. Kind of lets you know when spirit is really guiding you and desires you to deliver a message for it, right? But anyway, so when that dark spirit comes over a human and they manifest their desires in reality, and it comes about in a dark manifestation. If more of us begin to support that manifestation, then it will ultimately become mimetic or contagious in the sense that it will start to grow roots in our society and manifest itself more and more in the next mind and the next mind, and that person will come up with something similar and something similar. Whereas if we start to pick and choose what it is we support, and we give more love and caring and kindness and more motivation and encouragement to people with ideas that are outside of the norm, we can develop a society that is outside of what we have experienced up to this point, right? But instead we keep feeding the same thing in the same machine, whereas we can change the nature of the machine. We can inspire more natural within the machine. And on a side note, so one more addition to this, and just to how these places become almost energy pits, because not only do we now have this, I'm not even going to call it an eyesore, but we have these different types of, we have certain places that literally just become very robotic, very gray, just, they don't really provide much to the soul or to nature. They're not very nourishing. They are just places that we go to shop and to kind of like, to tune out, to disassociate and to almost zombify ourselves with commercialism and capitalism. And another thing that brought that to my attention was, as I went into one of these stores, I noticed that the energy is just almost kind of always low. Do you ever realize that when you go into certain places, that it's almost like we have this unspoken rule of not to express yourself in these places? And I really admire the people that push through and develop the confidence to express themselves. But I noticed that a lot of the times it's like everybody's very like robotic. Like you got to get your groceries. Don't smile. Don't get too out of your shell. Don't do anything too crazy. And just kind of like focus. Get in there and get out. Right? Like we're all on this mission to avoid each other, no matter the cost. And it develops this energy that if you're in touch with it, if you can sense things like that, you go in these places and you're like, damn, it's like very closed off in here. I don't feel the love. I don't feel connection. I feel very much so just like closed off. And it's contagious to the point where, because no one else is opening up and communicating, you become closed off in a way that makes you not want to open up and communicate. Right? And that in turn just begins to spread, and we're all like that. So, for example, I went into a place and, everybody's doing their thing, and I'm just kind of like, I turn on some music in my headphone, and I'm just kind of trying to maintain my positivity, and my mind is elsewhere, just thinking on how to do things a little differently. And I come in contact with this girl, this chick that's working there. She's like trying to figure something out, but we run into each other. And I asked her how she was doing, and she's like, "Oh, not good." I mean, just like, no offense, like nothing against her, but I could just recognize that she was in a very low vibrational state at that time. And I feel spirit come over me and just say, this is an opportunity for me to elevate not only her energy, but my energy as well, right? And I was given the opportunity to do that. So through conversation, I was able to, talk to her a little more, and she was just kind of saying, that things just weren't going her way. She's ready to go home. She didn't want to be there, and I could totally relate to that. And that brings up another point as far as relating to people. I believe the Spirit sends you through certain obstacles so that when those opportunities come, you now have the experience of that negativity, so that you can share the energy you have from overcoming that negativity with another human being that needs it, right? That is in need of that at that particular time. So I was able to just like be positive and just like have this very natural connection and just like speak positivity over this young lady, and I was like, I'm sending you good vibes right now, and just like open up my hands and try to like channel all the positive energy I could toward her. And at the very least, I put a smile on her face in a time where I could have been negative, right? I could have let the negativity and like the closed off feeling of the place I was in affect me, and like, oh yeah, I know, man, I'm ready to go home too, like, blah blah blah, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But instead, because I've had those experiences, I was able to stay in tune with my positivity and to share that, and to hopefully help somebody else have a better day, and that'll become contagious, right? Or that'll become exponential and help the next person and the next person have a better day. So just wanted to drop that came to my mind, thought I'd share. See you in the next one.